Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and welcome back to my channel. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and as promised, here is the highly anticipated, I'm sure, Q&A video for my time while I'm gone. I think y'all know, at least when it comes to Amberlynn, I find her incessant amounts of Q&As tiresome, but honestly, I don't mind an occasional Q&A. It's mostly like what is so irritating when it comes to Amberlynn is she does them so often. I'm like, what potential new questions could we even be asking that we haven't answered already before at some point, you know? But for me specifically, it's been a long time since I did any kind of Q&A anything. I mean, the closest you probably could get is coming into one of my Twitch streams and just asking me a question there. But even there, it's not like we're running a Q&A. I'm just occasionally do answer people's questions if, you know, they ask me while I'm streaming. So I thought it might be fun to do this just because it's hard to pre-record content when you have a channel like mine that's largely based on like whatever the current events of the day on the internet are. So I figured this would be something that would be somewhat easy. Now I wanted to do this with full transparency, so you could go to my community tab right now here on the YouTube and look at the post I made and also see all of the comments that are on the post, and you can see who asked the questions. I promise I don't have any like Damian White-esque accounts out there asking myself questions, and I also am just probably going to start by sorting it by top comments. To be honest, I don't exactly know what that YouTube algorithm looks like how they decide what a top comment is. I'm personally a bottom comment, so I can't really relate. And I thought it might be like, what are the most liked questions? But when you sort by that, like the first question I'm looking at it right now comes up and it has 87 likes, and like 3 questions down there is a question that has 150 likes. So I don't know how it sorts it that way. There's also 271 comments if I didn't already say that. So there's literally no way in the span of however long I'm going to record. I don't know, maybe I'll set like a time limit of like maybe 30 minutes, and however many questions I can answer in 30 minutes, we're going to answer, okay? And I'm going to try not to ramble so we can get as many in as possible. So really, truly, I think let's just get to, shall we? So the first question comes from your girl, Joy, who says, how much longer do you think you can cover Amberlynn Reid given she's not giving? And that's the one that has the 87 likes. It's the very first one that comes up. And I honestly, this is one of them. I've looked through some of the questions. I know that there's some repeats and stuff too in there. But because this is at the top every time, it's one that I actually have been thinking about. And I do think it's interesting that people, people bring this up from time to time, and probably honestly throughout my entire time of covering Amberlynn, where they're like, Amberlynn isn't giving, and I'm tired of her, I'm over her. I will say it's more recently, I feel like there's more people saying it, but it is something that has existed throughout my whole entire time of covering and or following Amberlynn. And I just personally don't feel similarly. Like, I think that there are definitely times where she's doing less interesting things, but there's always something that ends up coming up that gets people fired up and gets people talking. I mean, we just saw this with Mama Lynn, and right before the Mama Lynn stuff was specifically stuff related to like her cleaning a litter box, okay? And now we even potentially have some stuff coming up with Wasabi. I personally, honestly, truly do appreciate and enjoy some of the like quieter times of her channel, because I think really just like her life in general is ridiculous and crazy. And I honestly am gonna keep covering her until like I don't enjoy it anymore. like if I ever feel like I'm no longer enjoying it like 100%, then I won't do it. That's kind of how I approached Foodie Beauty, although I still cover her too occasionally. But that's really my vibes. Like, I want to be doing stuff on YouTube that I enjoy doing. So Alive 389 asked, would you ever see yourself going back to a traditional job? And if so, what would you like to do? That's really hard to say. I loved working in education a lot, depending on which job I was working in. But I enjoyed, in general, the concept of working in a place of education and being a part of students' journey and things like that. It's hard to say if I would go back to that. Honestly, people who work in education, I think, in all aspects of it, I can say this because my bachelor's degree is in elementary education, then I worked in higher education, and I think kindergarten all the way through college, also pre-K, all education is highly, underpaid and overworked. And so I just think I would probably rather be doing something else. I don't really know what that is. I don't currently have any immediate plans to go back to working a traditional job. And if I did, I'd have to probably do some soul searching to decide what that is. I just haven't thought a lot about it. I feel really good about where I'm at on YouTube and Twitch and the things I've built on the internet. So, once I need to start worrying about that, I will. I certainly don't want people to be worried about the future of myself financially, because I very much am frugal with my money. I've got money put away. I'm taking care of myself and my family. So I don't know. Maybe one day I'll go back to a traditional job. I imagine I probably will have to eventually. But that's not anytime in the immediate future, at the very least. Hot Latte 3230 said, will you recreate the pizza? The pizza in question being a carnivore pizza that Life Plus Cindy made in a video I just reacted to recently. And the answer is no, probably not. I think I might be past the point of recreating dishes. I don't want to ever say never. But in a lot of ways, I've been trying to regulate some of the things I eat a little bit more because of some health-related issues I've had. And so it's really hard to incorporate then food as a part of the work I do every day, and it kind of gets in the way. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I'm eating perfect 100% of the time by any means, but I just don't want to sacrifice what I'm working on for the sake of making a silly YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? Moo Missa says, do you have an all-time favorite Girl World moment? Honestly, I don't know. There definitely have been some good moments where I just was having the most fun. I think a lot about just in general, the span of time I spent living in the studio apartment, which if you don't know, I often think about things that have happened in Girl World and also on my channel and things like that in terms of where I was living when certain events happened. And that studio apartment was when I reacted to Octavia, whoever, whatever. And that was just some iconic moments. I think Shrimpgate might have originally happened during that time too. It was just a really iconic time for the history of Girl World, in my opinion. It's also where Chantal struck me for the first time, which was kind of unnerving at the time. And now I look back and I'm like, girl, what were you worried about? But it's just because I had never experienced it before, never gone through with it. I don't know. I think my favorite moment could shift on a dime, but I think I would probably go with the Octavia of it all, because it combined Amberlynn with another thing that I just think is so ridiculous, which is MLMs. Fin2FUU says, probably the most important thing I need to know is whether you're a corner brownie or a middle brownie person. Well, brownies are one of my favorite desserts, and I am a middle brownie person. I just love a moist, mushy brownie. I do like it to be a little chewy, but I don't want the crunchy corner bits. I'm sorry. Please don't come fight me. Marla Warren 4574 says, looking back, when do you think Amberlynn Reid and Chantal as well was the most fun to react to? Oh, meaning what era, event, or time period? Was it the most silly, lighthearted, and fun? Well, I guess I kind of already talked about Amberlynn a little bit. The Octavia era was just a joy. When it comes to Chantal, I'll say two things. In terms of just lighthearted and just overall ridiculousness, I loved the dumpster diving era. Loved it so much. To the extent that recently I just went and covered and reacted to a dumpster diving channel because I was so fascinated by it. And I missed Chantal doing it back in the day. And then I think what really initially got me so invested in Chantal was truly just like, I lived for her like just sharing unhinged facts about herself when she would do mukbangs. Like, the mukbang, well, actually, one of the very first videos of her that I reacted to was her trying to do like a struggles of being me type of video. And she mentioned something along the lines of getting like the cap to a Pringles can stuck in a fold of her body somewhere. And I was just like, there's something about this woman that I can't stop watching. So probably that. I also really loved like her fast era where she was like, I'm water fasting, I'm grape fasting, I'm juice fasting, I'm doing a juice detox. That stuff was really interesting to me too, honestly. I mean, that's really going far back for both of them, I guess. Lexi says, I love this idea. How does it feel to be the favorite driving reaction channel now? Well, I've always been a driving reaction channel, but I just haven't had a car in Chicago since probably 2018. And also, in case you don't know, I have mentioned this on Twitch. I can't remember if I've said it on YouTube or not, but Noel and I actually do own a car now. But we mostly got it for Noel's work purposes and less for me. So I probably am still going to be a little passenger princess. But we do in fact have a car, so I guess I am a driving reaction channel now, whatever that means. Megs Blue says, I don't really have any pressing questions, but just wanted to comment that I have a great deal of respect for the way that you handle being on the internet, having an internet presence, how you handle your work-life balance, etc. I've been watching your content on various platforms for about 5 years now, and I just think you're fabulous. That's very kind, Meg. Appreciate that. I don't know how to... Ogeleazar says, how do you keep yourself so neutral and level-headed during frustrating moments in girl world? You always seem so composed and calm. I guess that kind of goes with Meg's question above, or we'll comment. A comment, I guess. And I think that that's interesting because I don't know that everybody on the internet would agree with you. I've certainly had people say that I'm like rude and mean. I also have people that think I'm too nice. It can be a really conflicting world to live in when you're being told things from different parties that like contradict one another. It's really hard to hold on to just like making sure that, you know, you're being true to yourself. And I think that that's, I guess, how I stay level-headed. Is that at the end of the day, I just want to be true to me. I know a lot of people think I'm doing something to like please Amberlynn, and a lot of people say that I'm just saying things to make my audience happy. And the reality is that Amberlynn is frequently not pleased with things I say. My audience is frequently not pleased with things I say. And I think most people, what they're really here for, like the majority of people who aren't commenting any of those things, are here because they feel like I am being true to myself and being honest about how I feel. I think like also being level-headed and I don't know, neutral. I don't know if I would actually agree that I'm neutral because like I'm giving you my opinion. I'm not trying to play like a fence sitter by any means, but level-headed I think comes from like my experience of working in education, and like you have to be level-headed. You have to use some like sense of calmness when you approach situations. I used to work in a residence hall where I was in an on-call rotation, meaning if there were emergencies on campus, I got a phone call and said I had to show up there and be the like leader and be in charge and like mitigate the situation and triage the situation to get it all sorted out. So like I think things like that have just carried over into various aspects of my life. RIEKAI7375. I'm just gonna start spelling out your names if I'm not sure how to pronounce them. Said, how did you and Noel meet, and what were his specific green flags that made you continue the relationship? Noel and I met on Tinder. His profile pictures were not very exciting, but the stuff in his bio seemed interesting to me. He was into like the arts and films and stuff like that, and so I just started talking to him. We met. I'm trying to think about like specific green flags that made me think like oh, this guy is worth it. You know, one of the biggest green flags that I would say was important to me, and it might sound bad at first, but like there was a point, we had probably been like casually dating for a month and a half, and there's a point where he told me he had to end things because like he just needed to work on his own mental health and he wasn't ready to be in a relationship. And he took a month off from like hanging out with me, spending time with me, and at the end of that month, he was able to come back to me and be like, all right, here are the things that I've been working on. Like, I'm ready if you're ready. Like, we can approach having a relationship now. And I don't know, like, as somebody who feels like mental health is really important to me, like, that always stood out as something that was, like, really self-aware and responsible. And, like, I appreciate that he did that because it gave us the chance to, like, get a relationship started when he was in a better mental health space. So I guess that's one green flag. I'm sure there's more, but that's the one that comes to mind most immediately. Elise X Empress asks, what inspired you to start creating videos? The first job I had in Chicago got to a point where I was like not enjoying my day job all that much. It was a very stressful job. It was the job where I was like on call responding to emergencies and things like that. And I also, as a part of that job, had to be on campus for that, and I was only allowed to go so far away from campus. So I was looking for, like, hobbies to get into, things to do with my time when I was stuck on campus. And a lot of my coworkers and friends at the time were like, Zach, you're funny. Like, you should try to make YouTube videos. Like, you could be so successful there. You should try it. You should try it. And so I did. And here we are. Here we are. If you go back to the very beginning of my channel, like if you go and sort my channel by oldest videos, you'll see I tried a whole bunch of things. I did all kinds of different types of videos before I landed on this like commentary reaction genre of video. So I did a whole lot before. MB31415 says, what do you say to people when they ask you what you do for work? I tell them that I'm a YouTuber. If they ask more specific questions, like usually they do ask like, what do I make YouTube videos about? And I tell them that I make like commentary and reaction style videos, and then I talk about YouTubers on the internet, which I feel like is what I do. I mean, I guess I could go into detail with them about like Amberlynn, but to be quite honest, most people don't know who Amberlynn, Chantal, etc. are. So that's just like not super necessary, but they usually do ask me for what my YouTube channel is, and I feel like they do typically when I meet new people, they like to go and follow me. I don't know if they ever stick around, but I do. I'm pretty straightforward about it. I've also done a lot of work of just like owning what I do, because I think a lot of people who don't know anything about YouTube think it's weird, and so I get this like preconceived like nervousness that people are gonna think it's weird, but when I really just own what I do, people think it's really interesting and cool. So I don't know. Juju58 said, I think you said before that you're from the Midwest, but what brought you to the Windy City and decided to make it your home? I'm originally from like more southern Illinois, and I went to school at Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville for my undergrad, and then I got my graduate degree in Indiana University. So I've lived in the Midwest my whole entire life. But when I was job searching, I actually job searched all over. I job searched at whatever universities pretty much that were hiring. No, I wanted to move to a city. So I will say I was interviewing at universities that were in larger cities, because I grew up in the middle of nowhere without like many gay people around. Not to say that there weren't any, but there weren't a lot. And so I knew if I wanted to be around gay people, I probably needed to move to a city. And it just so happened that I had a friend that worked at the university that I got a job at here in Chicago, and he like encouraged me to apply to said job because he wanted to work with me because he worked in the same department. And yeah, then I came here and I haven't left. I really love Chicago. It has been such a joy living here. It's made such a difference in my life as a queer person, to be able to have primarily friends now that are queer, and to be around people that are in my community. Miss Misty said, I started watching you 5 years ago. Your personality is the greatest. What made you start making videos? Oh, I guess I already answered that, but thank you, Miss Misty. 1122 Bogey Wogie Avenue, I love that name, said, oh, this is also not a question, but I'll read it anyways. We love an Amberlynn Q&A situation type of deal from the good old Macquarie cycle. Lauren Van Ralty said, if you could only give Foodie or Amber one piece of advice, what would it be? That's really hard because I've given them both so much advice over the years. I think it would be really truly to just like focus on themselves, you know, set up some boundaries for YouTube, like especially, well, actually no, both of them. I think they could have continued doing so much more if they would have set up some boundaries in the ways that they interact with their respective audiences, both for better and for worse. I feel like they both too frequently get caught up in what the haters think. And not to say that that's not somewhat of a natural reaction from a YouTuber and a public figure. Like, I'd be lying if I never, you know, internalized some things that I read about myself on the internet. But finding some boundaries with that, I think, would have really helped them. Because especially, like, Amberlynn just got done talking about how this whole situation with Mama Lynn, like, kept her from making content. It kept her from getting her bag, from living her life. And I think if she could take some time to work on that, I mean, maybe that leads to both of them, the larger piece of advice, which is go to therapy. Probably, maybe we should just start there. Go to therapy. Yeah, that's what I would say. Desiree Frayne 4655 said, I'm always so envious of the community you talk about having in Chicago. How do you manage to make friends and build community in your 30s in a big city? Yeah, that's a great question because I do think it's hard. I think part of moving to Chicago was that I did have some built-in friendships. So I had probably, like, a lot of my close friends were people that I went to grad school with that also moved to Chicago and had jobs here. So that was one built-in thing. And then I met some other people through either work or, like, through networking with other people at other universities. So there were various, I guess, like, I don't know, what do you call them? Like, professional organizations that connected me to professionals at other universities in Chicago. So I met some friends that way. And a big way, I know people joke all the time about me always bringing up, like, the gay sports I participate in, but that's a big way. Like, some of my closest friends now are people that are on my softball and volleyball teams. So, you know, finding things like that to join, honestly, has been a real blessing and helpful. And then on top of that, I mean, like, through dating Noel, like, my friendship circle has expanded. Like, a lot of his friends have become mine. And we also, anytime our friends invite us to something where we're going to meet new people, like, we try to say yes. And we make new friends that way, too. Like, we literally, two of our close friends that we're getting dinner with tonight, because one of them, it's their birthday today, we met them both through our friend's wedding. And we sat with them at the dinner table at our friend's wedding, and now we hang out with them all the time. Probably more than we do said friend who got married because she lives in the suburbs. So yeah, I just think you gotta say yes to stuff, and you gotta be open to putting yourself out there and trying new things. Could you please show us your setup / where you edit your videos? That's kind of hard to do right now because I got the camera set up right here. I'm like, should I take a photo? Should I expose myself and take a photo? Here, I'll take a photo. My desk is kind of chaotic, but I'll take a photo and I will put it in here as I'm editing, and you can at least enjoy what my desk looks like. I will say my studio is kind of a place of chaos. so please don't judge too much. Triplexity says, how does Noel feel about Girl World and the huge presence you have in it? He doesn't. The first thing he loves to tell people is that he does not watch my content. So, which I think is, like, healthy. I think it's mostly healthy that he's not involved. I don't like to be involved in his work like that either, to be honest with you. So yeah, he doesn't really think much of it. If anything, he might think it's a little bit weird when, like, we get seen out in public and people come say hi to me and things like that, but that's about it. Going off of that, Artisan said, do your friends and family watch your content? What do they think of your YouTube / Twitch world? And the The answer is some watch. I have some friends, I guess I should say, that watch. I don't think anybody in my, like, immediate family watches that I know of. And if they do, they haven't told me. But I do have some friends that keep up with the girls and or me. One friend is my friend Emily, who's been in videos of mine. It's been a long time since she has, but she does keep up from time to time. I'll get texts from her when she's playing catch up, and she'll be like, oh my god, what do you think about this, and this? And the other one is actually Noel's friend, Trina. She actually is Noel's ex-girlfriend. Noel is bisexual, if you didn't know that about him. Anyways, his ex-girlfriend, who's now just a friend that hangs out with us all the time, anytime she comes over, she wants to talk shop about the girls. So they're probably the two that come to mind the most. I have another friend, the friend that's watching Poe while we're gone for this vacation. She doesn't watch a lot of the commentary, but she loves whenever I post the little, like, trolley videos of, like, vlogs of me where I'm just mostly trolling. So she'll watch those, but she doesn't necessarily tune in a lot to these things. But yeah, if people do, they don't really tell me. Oh, the only other one is a guy named Joel he's on my softball team, but I first met his husband, who was on our softball team first. And anyways, he watches them all too. So hi, Joel, if you're watching. I think he watches probably more consistently than Emily and Trina, to be honest with you. And there was that one vlog where I walked 3 miles. If you're watching that vlog, and at the end, when I run into a fan, it was my friend Joel. And I was not expecting to see him when I was walking. And so I talked about it with him later, because he was like, yeah, I wondered what was up, and then I watched your video, and it made sense why you were, like, not super responsive to me in the moment. Fatty Moo says, what's the most fun concert you've been to and the most talented artist you've seen live? I would say, honestly, the answer to both of those is Lady Gaga. I've seen her many times at this point. The most fun I have ever had at a concert was the Chromatica Ball at Wrigley Field just last year. I think was that just last year, or was that 2022? It was 2022, because in 2023 I saw the jazz and piano show. But she is, like, that particular concert, I'd never seen her that close, because every concert of hers before, I was, like, a poor college student. Or, like, I think the Joanne tour, I was in my first year of my job after graduate school, and I just didn't have the money to get, like, good tickets. And so I was, like, in the nosebleeds for Joanne, too. And so this was the first time I was, like, in the general admission area. I was so close to her. At one point, she was, like, maybe 6 feet away from me on the stage. And she's just everything. It was so much fun being around other little monsters who love Lady Gaga. It was great. And she really is just talented. Like, she has the range. Because I also mentioned seeing this, like, jazz and piano show. She's just so talented. Like, she can do so many things. I just love her. I love her. I love her. After that, I don't know, I'd probably say twice in terms of, like, having fun at a concert. They're a K-pop group. Rachel Green says, are any current hobbies or things you want to be into? I guess really just truly, like, the sports that I do and Fortnite. I play a lot of Fortnite too. I don't know that I'm trying to get into new hobbies, because I feel like I do a lot. Because, like, we also go to a lot of theater, because we both enjoy the theater. Noel loves to see movies, so we do that a lot. So I'm not really doing a whole lot. I mean, I am doing a whole lot, which is why I don't really have the capacity to do more. Does that make sense? Narcan Tan says, I love this. Thank you. That's so sweet. Shy Yander says, does your back ever hurt from carrying this community? That's very flattering. I think that if I stopped existing, this community would continue going on. I don't know that I'm carrying the community. In fact, I think there would probably be at least a number of people that would love to tell you how I'm making the community worse or something like that. So that's very sweet. But Natalia asked another question about my dream jobs if I wasn't doing YouTube. I think I've already said that. Sarah Grant said, other than therapy, side-eye emoji. What are you doing to help your anxiety and depression? Top 3 coping skills everyone should try. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that the things that I do would help everybody else. So, certainly try them if it sounds like something that would be helpful. For me, my anxiety usually manifests in like me looping in my head about all the things that I'm anxious about. So usually if I can try to get something out of my head, it helps me like feel better about the anxiety. So I write things down in a to-do list. Or even if it's not like things I have to get done, if I just write my thoughts down somewhere, that's helpful so I can return and talk to my therapist later about it. I also, if it's something that I feel comfortable talking to Noel or a friend about, verbally processing my anxiety is really helpful for me too. And then, I don't know, spending time outside and exercising is really helpful. Well, let me ignore the exercising part. Spending time specifically outside of my house is really helpful. So, because I work from home, I get really, stir crazy in here. And so if I feel myself getting that way, I'll either like go take Poe out for a walk, or if I've already taken him out recently, or like Noel has already taken him out recently, then like I plan for something outside. Like maybe I pick up my computer and I go to a coffee shop and try to like answer emails at the coffee shop instead of doing it here at this desk. So yeah, that I would say those things. I don't know. Somebody with a bunch of random letters for a name said happy birthday, Queen, but my birthday was in February. Bettina said your favorite color, favorite movie. Sorry, you said Amberlynn Reed style. I was like, why do you really care about my favorite color? I would say my favorite color to wear is blue, and my favorite color in general is purple. And my favorite movie, I don't know, probably the original Mean Girls. Let's go with that. Let's see. I've been filming for 33 minutes and I'm getting hot because why am I wearing this crew neck sweatshirt? I don't know. But the lights are making me sweaty. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do 5 more questions, okay? I don't know how many questions I got to in here. Maybe somebody can count later and let me know. But I've tried my best. Trying my best. Best. Why am I struggling with that word? Okay, Marco Design says, beneath the lulls, it's clear you have a lot of insight into human nature as well as deep empathy. Have you considered becoming a counselor or therapist? I have not. I have not. I had to take a counseling for higher education course in my graduate program, and I found we did do some like counseling labs. Basically, part of the class was like spending the last hour of it doing like little like practice therapy sessions. I don't know that I was particularly good at it, to be honest with you. I think you have to have more skills than just like being empathetic and, appreciating people and trying to see where they're coming from. And so no, I don't think I'd be good at it, to be honest with you. And or I think there's other ways that I could use my empathetic nature, if that's what you want to call it, to be helpful in society, If you could go back and relive one moment in your life, what would it be? Not to do anything differently, but just to relive it because it made you so happy. That's from Jessie Lynn 0215. I don't know. I don't think a lot about reliving my life. TBH. Honestly. I mean, I loved experiencing lots of different things in my life, but I'm also just so chill with having those things as memories and doing new things. I don't know. I guess maybe reliving the time when I graduated from my master's degree program, because I really was, the first person in my family to do that, and I was really truly so proud of myself. And yeah, or maybe the first time when we adopted Judy, I would say maybe that, and that's maybe just because of recent events and things like that, and I do feel like I miss her a lot, and that was really truly such a happy day for me. So maybe one of those things. Favorite part about living in Chicago? I live here too. That's from Maya. I don't know how to say the last part of your name. So Maya. There's so many things I like about living in Chicago. I think it's just so easy to get around. I feel like there's always something for me to do if I want to do something, and it's also chill for me to just stay home if I want to stay home. I love having access to like theater stuff. I truly do. I think a lot about like, I guess I could move to the suburbs, but then it'd be so less convenient to get where I need to be. And I love like the community that I've built here too. I think that's like an important part of it. And, you know, I could probably get similar things that Chicago has in other cities, but I wouldn't have the people that I have here. A Tiny Spook says, yes, love this idea. Has there ever been a moment through girl world history where you thought maybe Amberlynn could really actually change? Like, was there any time one of her cycles maybe seemed like it was actually going to stick for once, and why? Hope you and Poe are doing well. I think one of the things that makes people irritated with me is that I try to have hope and optimism for Amberlynn and maybe Chantal to a lesser extent. And I think that's irritating to people. But I think it's also really disingenuous for me to come on here and like provide advice and insight and not actually want her to take that advice and insight and hope that she changes. Like, I wouldn't provide my thoughts on things that she could do differently or better if there wasn't a part of me that didn't want her to actually do better. So I think I always hold on to some level of hope that she'll get better or that she'll change her ways or something will shift. There are certainly times where I've felt less optimistic about that, for sure. And honestly, truly, I don't know. I think, honestly, when she got diagnosed with cancer, for me, at that time, my thought process was she's either going to, really change her life around and we're going to be in a different place, or it's going to go south real quick. And that's why I was like, let me just take a break for a while and not react to her at that time. Because I was like, I'm curious what way this is going to go. I mean, I don't think it ended up going drastically south. Like, it really just stayed the same, which I think is why I felt comfortable coming back. But yeah, I don't know. That's probably maybe the most hopeful time, because I know, like, for her, this is, like, a very sad time. But for me, it was like this is going to be her wake-up call. And unfortunately, like, I don't know if it was, to be honest with you. I would say maybe I also felt, like, a little optimistic during the weight loss surgeon stuff. But also, by probably halfway through it, I'd lost most hope, I think, honestly, truly. I mean, I'm not really sure what the exact timeline was for that, but at some point, I realized, like, no, this is gonna be just like everything else. And then here's the last one I will answer. I really got through a whole lot of them, I feel like, without rambling too much. Maybe I will go count, because I'm curious. Anyways, AEVITY5050 says, have you always been such an expressive person? If not, how did you become comfortable being so raw and real with who you are and how you react? I love watching your videos, mainly because of your humor and personality. Keep being you. I would say to some extent, yeah. I was in theater in high school, and I was also in choir and band, so like performing was a concept that I was used to. I was also on the speech team in high school. So, like, getting up and talking in front of people has always been a thing. What's wild is, like, when I know I'm getting ready to, like, put on a performance, or, like, I don't know, I wouldn't call this necessarily performing, I guess in some ways of the word. Performance makes it sound like I'm being fake when I'm like, but I am doing a performance where, like, I'm logging on and I'm purposely doing stuff to be entertaining. Like, I'm trying to be entertaining, I guess is what I'm trying to say. In those situations, I feel so comfortable. If there's any situation where I don't feel comfortable, it's like in a room full of strangers. It's in a room full of strangers. And also, honestly, I thought there was a question somewhere about drinking that I was going to answer, but apparently it's not far up enough on the old top comments filter. But I've really noticed how uncomfortable I am in a room full of strangers ever since I stopped drinking. If you don't know, I haven't drank since August 11th. So as long as I make it to May 11th, that'll be 9 months. And I could maybe talk about that more in a video sometime, not today. But it's made me very aware of how I utilized alcohol as a way to feel comfortable and as a way to socialize. And so I've really been working on revisiting that, because that doesn't seem super productive or healthy, you know? So we're working on that now that I live a sober life and I am going places and interacting with strangers and people I've never met before. But yeah, I don't know. I've just like, I've always been somebody who says what's on my mind, to the extent that in like professional settings, like sometimes it, I think, got me in a little bit of trouble because I'm not somebody that sits around and doesn't like speak up when I feel like there's a problem. Yeah, but I generally always been like this. You know, always been a little goofy goober. Just now I do it professionally on the internet on a day-to-day basis. Anyways, that really is all I got. I'm sweating. I really need to take this off so bad. It's so hot in here right now. So I'm gonna go. I hope you all enjoyed this video so much. I hope it kept you company while you're doing your dishes, while you're trying to fall asleep, while you're studying, whatever it might be. And thanks so much for watching it, even though it's not like one of my standard videos. And thanks for supporting me even while I am away on vacation. It means the world to me that a lot of y'all will tune in for whatever the fuck I post over here. So thank you, truly. I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me. If I haven't said it enough recently, I just want you all to know that I am really grateful for the community that we have here on the YouTubies. You know, somebody asked a question about the community that I've been able to build in my personal life here in Chicago, but like the community that so many of you have found here, in terms of even just like a place to come at the end of your day, a place to come and just listen to while you're cooking dinner for your family, a place to come where you unwind before you go to bed. Like, that kind of community is also really special to me. So thanks so much for being a part of it. I really, truly do mean that. And I hope that you all have found some time to relax, rest, and unwind just like I am right now on vacation. Anyways, I love you all so much. Please make sure to leave a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I'll see you all next time. Bye!